You have been taught that blessing is a soft, polite word, something said quietly before a meal, and little else. That translation is why so many people pray for abundance and never actually see it arrive. Jesus used a very different word, one that did not simply wish for increase, but actively released it. That word was berktha, and tonight you will hear it the way it was first spoken, not as a wish, but as a command over lack itself. Along the roads of Galilee, nothing was wasted, and nothing was assumed. Fishermen counted their catch by hand. Families measured grain against the very real possibility of a hungry winter. In Tatward, scarcity was not a mindset. It was daily, physical reality, felt in the body long before it was ever felt as a worry in the mind. And it was into this exact world, among people who understood lack intimately, that Jesus spoke a word most modern translations have quietly flattened into something ceremonial and small. That word was berktha. Today it becomes blessing, a word we now attach to sneezes, to grace before dinner, to a polite phrase muttered at the end of a card. It has become soft, decorative, almost powerless, something said rather than something done. But berktha carried none of that thinness in its original form. Its root reaches into the idea of kneeling to receive and of an overflowing increase poured out, not a wish spoken over something, but an actual impartation. A multiplication released into what was previously insufficient. When Jesus spoke berktha over bread, over fish, over the people gathered in front of him, he was not offering a polite sentiment while everyone waited for reality to do the actual work. He was releasing something, a current of increase, directly into whatever was lacking. This is the difference between hoping something might expand and speaking the exact word that causes expansion to begin. There is a physical image worth holding on to here. To kneel, in that ancient world, was to lower yourself in order to receive something you could not reach, standing up straight and guarded. Berktha carried that same posture inside it, not a proud, standing declaration thrown outward, but a humble opening, a willingness to receive increase rather than white-knuckle your way toward it through sheer effort alone. Tonight, we recover that word, and the specific way it was used to turn scarcity into more than enough. If you are honest with yourself, you already know what scarcity feels like in the body, not just in the bank account. It is the tightness in your shoulders when a bill arrives before you expected it. It is the quiet, reflexive clench in your chest at the register, even when you know the money is technically there. It is the low hum of never quite enough, running underneath decisions that have nothing directly to do with money at all, what you allow yourself to want, what you assume you don't deserve, what you quietly talk yourself out of before you've even considered it seriously. This scarcity does not usually announce itself as poverty. It shows up as a contraction, a narrowing of what feels possible, a habit of bracing rather than expecting. Even people with comfortable, stable incomes can carry this tightness, because it was never only about the actual numbers. It is a posture learned early, reinforced by every season where there truly wasn't enough, and it lingers long after circumstances have changed, quietly shaping choices you no longer even recognize as choices. Think of a hand that has spent years clenched around whatever little it managed to hold on to it. Does not simply relax the moment more becomes available. It has to be trained, gently, to open again. This is precisely the condition berktha was designed to address. Not the absence of resources, but the closed, guarded posture that keeps a person bracing even when the room is objectively full. Berktha was spoken directly into this exact posture, not into rooms already overflowing, but into a crowd of thousands with nothing but a few loaves and fish between them. Precisely the kind of situation where contraction feels like the only rational response. In the next chapter, there is a short guided prayer built entirely around this word, tied directly to whatever tightness you are currently carrying around money. You don't need to prepare anything. You only need to keep listening. If this teaching has opened a new perspective for you, our Aramaic wisdom guide can help you continue this journey. After all, true knowledge sets us free. You'll find the link in the comments. And the best is yet to come. In the next chapters, you'll discover what could change everything for you. Berktha, source of all overflow, I come to you with hands open rather than clenched, releasing the grip I have kept on what little I believed was mine to protect. Where I have braced for lack, pour in increase instead. Where I have quietly assumed there would not be enough, show me the multiplication you are already releasing. In your name, Berktha. Let my hands stay open long enough to receive it. Let it be so. Notice the posture in that prayer. Hands open, not clenched. This is not incidental. Berktha shares its root with words describing kneeling, and kneeling was never a posture of weakness in the ancient world. It was the position of a person prepared to receive something too large to be handed to them while standing rigid, arms crossed, guarding what they already had. You cannot receive an outstretched gift with a closed fist. The two postures are physically incompatible, and Berktha always assumed the open one. This is the layer beneath blessing that most translations lose entirely. A blessing, as we use the word today, is something spoken and then simply hoped for, passive, distant, uncertain whether it lands. Berktha was never passive. It described an active multiplication, the kind that took 5 loaves and 2 fish and made them sufficient for thousands, with baskets of surplus left over once everyone had eaten their fill. The increase was not symbolic. It was measured, counted, gathered up afterward as proof that it had actually occurred. Hold on to this detail. Open hands, active multiplication, measurable surplus, because in the next chapter you will see the exact scene where this word turned near nothing into more than enough, in front of thousands of witnesses who had every reason to expect scarcity that day. The scene the Gospel of Mark, chapter 6, preserves is almost comically small at the start. A crowd of thousands had followed Jesus into a remote place to hear him teach, and as the day wore on, hunger became impossible to ignore. His disciples, doing simple math, told him to send everyone away to buy food, because what they had on hand, 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, was laughably insufficient for a fraction of the people gathered, let alone all of them. Jesus did not increase the food first and then speak over it. He took what was already, undeniably, not enough, looked up, and spoke Berktha over it before a single loaf was broken or distributed. The blessing came before the visible evidence of increase, not after the problem had already solved itself, but directly into the middle of an obviously insufficient supply. Only after that word was spoken did the bread begin to multiply as it was distributed, hand to hand, until every single person present had eaten enough, and 12 full baskets of leftovers remained. This ordering matters enormously. Jesus did not wait for scarcity to resolve before speaking increase over it. He spoke the word first, while the lack was still completely visible, still completely real, still 5 loaves and 2 fish in front of thousands of hungry people. Berktha was never a response to abundance already present. It was the cause of abundance appearing where it previously did not exist. This is precisely the pattern erased from how most people now approach both prayer and money, waiting for evidence of increase before believing it's possible, rather than speaking the word directly into the visible insufficiency, the way Jesus did with 5 loaves in front of a hungry crowd of thousands. Perhaps you're wondering why these original teachings remained hidden for so long. That's why we created the Aramaic Wisdom Guide, because true knowledge sets us free. The link is waiting for you in the comments. Here is where the difference becomes impossible to ignore. There are people who have prayed for financial breakthrough for years, genuinely, sincerely, faithfully, and remained in exactly the same tight, contracted place the entire time. And there are others who seem to attract increase almost effortlessly, not because they started with more, but because something in how they hold what they have and what they hoped for was fundamentally different from the start. The difference is not luck, and it is not privilege, though both of those exist and complicate real financial hardship, in ways this teaching does not pretend to erase. What we are describing here is a specific internal posture, one that either opens toward increase or quietly closes against it, regardless of how much a person is currently praying, working, or hoping. There is a common mistake almost everyone makes when they reach for and it is the exact reason so many prayers for abundance seem to produce no visible change at all. We are not going to name it yet. First, consider this. How many times have you asked for more while simultaneously, unconsciously, gripping tighter to what little you already have, budgeting from fear rather than faith, giving reluctantly rather than freely, treating every dollar spent as a small defeat rather than a resource still flowing? That contradiction, asking with your words while clenching with your hands, is where Berktha quietly loses its power to move. You cannot pray for a river while standing with your palms pressed flat against the dam. Once you see exactly how this contradiction forms in your own daily habits, you will understand precisely how to release it. Here is the mistake, and here is how to correct it, starting today. Most people speak words of abundance, while their actual daily behavior, how they spend. Oh, tehi behau. They talk about money under their breath, quietly rehearses scarcity instead. This is the mistake. Praying open-handed language while living a closed-fisted life, so that the two signals cancel each other out before either can take root. The correction begins with a very small physical act, because the body often leads the mind faster than the mind leads the body. When you feel that familiar tightening around money before a purchase, before checking an account balance, before a conversation about finances that makes your stomach drop, physically open your hands, palms up, even briefly. Even under a table where no one can see. Speak the word quietly as you do. Berktha, not as a wish that the number in the account will suddenly change, but as a declaration that you are choosing, in T's moment, to remain a person who receives rather than a person who only grips. This extends beyond the moment of prayer into how you actually handle what you already have, giving even a small amount freely, without resentment, when you have genuinely felt too tight to give, is one of the fastest ways to interrupt a scarcity posture the mind has practiced for years. Jesus did not multiply the loaves by hoarding them tighter. He had them distributed, released outward. And it was in that releasing that the increase became visible to everyone watching. This single shift, open hands, spoken word, and behavior that matches both, is the difference between a prayer that changes nothing and a posture that actually makes room for Berktha to move. We are just scratching the surface of this ancient power. Get ready, because in our next video, I will reveal even deeper Aramaic codes that unlock spiritual authority you've never imagined. Make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss this unfolding revelation. Picture the moment you open a banking app, unsure of what balance will greet you. That quiet half-second of dread before the number actually loads on the screen. This is one of the most ordinary, unremarkable moments of contraction most people experience. No dramatic crisis, just a small, repeated bracing that happens so often it barely registers as anxiety anymore, simply as normal life. Instead of opening that app already braced, imagine pausing for 3 seconds first, hands physically relaxed, resting open on your lap rather than gripping the phone. One quiet, internal declaration. Berktha is already moving, not a denial of whatever number actually appears. A declaration that, regardless of what the screen shows in this instant, you are choosing to remain a person whose hands stay open toward what is still increasing, rather than one who slams shut the moment a number This is not a promise that every balance suddenly reflects abundance the moment you speak the word. Berktha was never a guarantee that circumstances instantly rearrange themselves around your comfort. It is a guarantee that you do not have to meet those circumstances already contracted, already defeated before the day has even properly begun. Jesus spoke this word over 5 loaves that were, in that exact moment, still only 5 loaves. The visible evidence came after the word, not before. Italiano, the next time that familiar dread rises, before checking a balance, paying a bill, or having a hard conversation about money, this is your doorway. You already carry the word. You only have to remember to open your hands before you open the app. Just a quick reminder, the transformation guides for a fuller life are waiting for you, right there in the comments. What you carry tonight should not end when this video ends. Berktha was never meant to be spoken once over a single meal and then forgotten. It was meant to become a daily posture, practiced deliberately until open hands become as natural as the closed fist scarcity once trained into you. Here is the practice to carry forward. Each morning, before you check any account, any message, any obligation, open your hands physically, palms up, and speak the word once, quietly. Berktha, not as a request for a specific number to appear, but as a declaration of the posture you are choosing to hold through the day ahead. Then, in the exact moment that familiar tightness returns, a bill, an unexpected expense, a comparison to someone who seems to have more, open your hands again, right where you are, and speak it a second time, directly into that contraction. And once more before sleep, releasing whatever the day tried to convince you was permanently insufficient. 3 times a day. Morning, moment of tightness, and night. Not as a magic formula for instant wealth, but as training, retraining a body and mind that learned scarcity through repetition to learn abundance through the same steady repetition, until open hands simply become who you are rather than something you have to remember to practice. Before you leave, if this message touched your heart or brought new understanding into your life, write the word overflow in the comments below. Your testimony may encourage someone else who is seeking increase in a season of lack. Thank you for sharing this moment of ancient wisdom with us. Until the next revelation, walk in peace, walk in freedom, and walk in the power. Be open.